And hello, race fans, and welcome here to the Arena Norte Cafe, or the Arena Cafe Norte, or rather, here in Brazil for our fifth race of the WRLA Xfinity Series. This is our first road course race of the season, and first one outside of either the United States and as well as Canada. So this is actually going to be a pretty historic race. This is a fictional, almost 1 mile road course. So this is kind of like one of those go-kart tracks that you would typically go to, whether it be, I don't know, maybe any of the other, maybe like Dave and Buster's, for instance, is usually where you would see tracks like this. But we're getting ready to go for 45 laps of action from here in Brazil. And from the looks of things, you know, this could be a pretty interesting race. We are basically, I don't know. This is our first road course race of the season. This is kind of like a short track, but almost a mile long, and basically, and just pretty much with the amount of space that these drivers are given with having an inside and outside retaining barriers. Cautions are turned on here for this race, and that's definitely going to be, that definitely could play a pretty interesting, that could throw a pretty interesting monkey wrench into how this race unfolds from here at Brazil. And I don't even know where else to really go with this, but we're just going to go, I'm just going to go ahead and try to get the points up, or at least try to get the stuff up here, ladies and gentlemen. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to show your points coming into this weekend from here in Brazil. But my goodness gracious, what a way to kick off April here. This ain't no April Fool's joke. It is pretty much game time from here in Brazil. Here's a look at your point standings coming in. John Boyd, after Auto Club Speedway just 2 weeks ago, still holds on to the points lead with 131 points to his name. Not too far back is Erica Douglas with 113, and then Ray Atikian is third with 102. And our winner from Fontana, that being Reagan DeFeo, nabbing her first career win, 100 points on the dot, and right now currently the highest ranking driver that has a win this year, thanks to that victory that she wound up getting at Auto Club, as well as a lot of the bonus points that she wound up getting on top of that as well throughout the 2026 season. Josiah Munsell fifth rather, with 96 points. And then it's a three-way tie between Jordan Sumner, Marcus Sachi, and Campbell Marsh. Of course, Sumner breaking that tie. Then that puts Sachi back in 7th. Campbell Marsh in 8th. Thomas Jericho 9th with 91 points. And Sam Robinson in car number 10 currently comes into this race position number 10 in the points standings. Here's a look at the rest of your points coming into this weekend. Kasumi Takashi right up there, just outside of the top 10. And then you have Igor Barreto, then Joshua Neely, who wound up winning at Minnesota, currently 13th in the points standings. But my goodness gracious, a lot of other drivers that are down at the bottom of the point standings. Of course, you got Ajax Fitzgerald, who's also been on a roll as of late. He's been turning his season around. That pep talk that Russell Blaze gave back at Las Vegas, definitely trying to keep it consistent here throughout every single Xfinity race, and it is paying off thus far. But 24th in the point standings, currently in a three-way tie with Ingleham and Carter Belair. But irregardless of that, it is going to be a pretty interesting night from here at Brazil, as you know, points as far as points are concerned. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing how this race is going to play out. But we're going to get there here in just a little bit. Let's have a look at your starting lineup. So odd cars are starting on the right-hand side here for this race, and then even cars are on the left-hand side. So that gives the pole position to Ryan Kendall. He'll be leading the field of the green flag alongside Igor Barreto, Austin Kane, and Shauna Martin. They make up the second row. Bobby Maguire and Marcus Sachi, they make up row number 3. Eric Blaze and Kenny Stremme, that's row number 4. Kasumi Takashi, Joshua Neely are winners from Vegas and Minnesota. They complete your top 10. And then it's Alexander Rowe, Sam Robinson, Thomas Jericho, Steve Morgan, Reagan Whitlock, Ray Atikian, Harun Kagweloglu, Sebastian Kukulon, Nick Martin, and John Boyd. That is your top 20. Ajax Fitzgerald, Haley Curris, Noah Cars, Campbell Marsh, Will Parrish, Miriam Judicia, Erica Douglas, Jordan Sumner, who's been on a roll as of late, has been picking up several top 10s, and she's definitely due for a win here in the Xfinity Series at some point. It might not be tonight, but just because of the pit strategies that we're going to see here later on in the going once we get this thing started. But I'm looking forward to seeing how those pit strategies are going to play out for all 40 of these competitors. Then you have Bryce Egan, Derek Hamill. They complete your top 30. And then it's Carter Belair, Reagan DeFeo, after winning at Fontana, starting in 32nd. Going to have her work cut out for her if she wants to play her cards right here in this event. Josiah Munsell, Justin Ingleham, that's your 17th row. Sarah Taylor, Celesta Lace in row 18. Val Mosco, Dana Mon in the 19th row. Haley Tullis and Roberto Crown Jr. Tullis racing in the Truck Series, and of course Crown in tomorrow night's Cup race. Tullis is, this is going to be Haley Tullis's last race here in the Xfinity Series. She'll put 100% focus over in the Truck Series. Of course, she wound up getting a win at the Minnesota Motorsports Park. But nonetheless, it is, I believe Tullis is going to definitely try to do everything that she can to make the best out of tonight and try to get herself the best finish possible before going into next weekend at Martinsville. The drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up, but in order to get these 42 cars rolling on the track, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that from here in Brazil.
Drivers, start your engine!
There it is. Engines are fired, pace cars rolling off, and so are these 40 competitors here running on this small 0.973 mile road course. It is going to be interesting to see how this race unfolds. Will we see passing? Will we see wrecks? Are we going to see a caution flag? Obviously, with the size of this, with this racetrack, and basically with the amount of room that these drivers are given to navigate their way around one another and try to take evasive action if there's any sort of incident, cautions again are turned on. So we will have yellow flags here. Just specifically for this reason. If we were at Mosport or even Sonoma or Watkins Glen, that's a bit of a different story. But here in Brazil, it's a little bit different. The drivers work their way through turn 4, through this, coming up on the final corner rather. Pace car is off. Ryan Kendall for Vision Motorsports and Igor Barreto are going to lead them to the green flag to get the first Xfinity race from Brazil underway. And here we go. Up through the gears they go into this right-hander, and then they're going to have to hard brake here into this sharp right-hand corner. They're going to have to do it again going into the left-hander. Kendall or Barreto with the advantage on this left-hander. And now coming up to the final corner. Barreto is good. Maybe, I thought he was going to clear Ryan Kendall for that race lead, but coming off the final corner, Barreto's going to barely lead that lap over Ryan Kendall heading into turn 1. Shauna Martin not too far behind in that '07. And then Austin Kane in the 3, sitting in the 4th position. And right now it is a 4-horse breakaway from the rest of the pack, 5th on back. Marcus Sacchi, Bobby Maguire, they're duking it out here for this 5th position. We're going to see Bobby Maguire in tomorrow night's Cup race, and so far, trying to do the best that he can to try to learn this racetrack and log laps for tomorrow. He's going to lose that 5th position to Sacchi. Coming off the final corner, you also have Eric Blaze in the number 8 right there in the 7th position. Blaze also getting his season turned around here. And right now running in the 7th position. It's been a pretty abysmal start to the year, though, for Eric Blaze. A couple of finishes towards the back end of the field. Of course, at Daytona, he didn't even get to start, or hell, he didn't even get to complete the first lap. He wound up getting wiped out heading into turn number 3. By that man right there, Kenny Stremme, who just absolutely dive-bombed him getting into that left-hander. And unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get that position away from Eric Blaze, so Blaze is going to retain that 7th position. But Eric Blaze right now doing a fantastic job in this event early in the going. It's a 45-lap race, so this is going to go by pretty quickly. And should be pretty interesting to see just exactly what goes down from here at Brazil when it comes down to pit strategy. Ryan Kendall breaks free from the clutches of Igor Barreto and is going to start pulling away just by a little bit, a little over a half a second between himself and the 11. Shawna Martin still 3rd, then Austin Kane 4th. Sacchi completes the top 5, then it's Maguire, Blaze, Stremme, and then Joshua Neely in new colors, the High Rock machine. Right now running in the 9th position, and Kasumi Takashi just got by, looks like Sam Robinson, for the top 10. Just a little bit too far, not too far behind them. That's Sam Robinson in the 10. Looks like he's going to get a huge mirror full of Steve Morgan in the number 7. Alexander Rowe in the 2, not too far back. And no, you're not seeing double. These 2 cars right here of Rowe and Whitlock, they look very similar to one another. But I promise you, they're different sponsors. Might be a little bit confusing between the 2, though. And it's kind of funny of how they're both running 12th and 13th right now. But Alexander Rowe doing a nice job just outside the top 10. But everybody now has gotten into a single file green flag rhythm with 5 laps complete from here in Brazil. Let's take a look further in the back of the field. There's Haley Tullis in the 91. Remember, this is her final race here in the Xfinity Series. If you just are now tuning in, the reason why Haley Tullis is no longer going to be racing the Xfinity Series, she will be putting 100% effort, or at least 100% focus, into the Truck Series Championship. Remember, she wound up winning at the Minnesota Motorsports Park back in February. And she's actually been running pretty consistently in the point standings over there in the Truck Series. We will see her next weekend at Martinsville. So nonetheless, but Tullis is going to be putting all that focus over in the Truck Series, and we do want to wish her the best of luck over there. Meanwhile, closer ahead of the field, that's the 27. Number 27 machine of Dana Mon, just getting passed by Val Moscow. We'll see him tomorrow. There's Jordan Sumner in the 98. Right now, Sumner is right in the 35th position. And there's Sarah Taylor in the 36th spot, not too far back. We're almost a fifth of the way through this event, and everybody has gotten into, and again, everybody's just single file right now. They're just trying to take care of their car, take care of their tires, and try to manage the fuel as best as they can. But with the way that this race might go, I mean, it is kind of interesting because this is almost a 1 mile facility that almost resembles a go-kart track, if you will, that you typically see at your local Dave & Buster's. At least whatever arcade that has a go-kart track that is near you. So for these guys, it's kind of like they're going out to Dave & Buster's or wherever else they may go. It's just to drive go-karts and just have a little bit of fun. And that's kind of what it's reminding me of right now as we're taking a look here at Ajax Fitzgerald. So far, he is currently running in the 22nd position. Haley Curris in the 44 running in 23rd. And just up ahead, there's our points leader, that being John Boyd. You know, Vision, and I talked about this, I think even during the Auto Club weekend just 2 weeks ago. Vision Motorsports has just been on a roll as of late in the form of consistency. Of course, you have Tanner Parton, who wound up winning in the Cup race at Las Vegas just a handful of weeks ago. And in the process, and on top of all that, he's leading the point standings as well. And then you come over here to the Xfinity Series side. John Boyd has been doing pretty well. He's currently running it, you know, as the points leader coming in. He's been pretty consistent all year so far. But right now running 21st, and definitely not really the position that he really wants to be in coming into this race. Just ahead of him, that's Sebastian Kukulon in the 25, who also competed in the NOS Energy Cup Series in 2020 for Nathan Ormond, when Ormond Motorsports was a part of the Cup Series at the time. But going back to John Boyd, and as far as the point situation coming into this race, just to review that, so far it is about an 18-point difference between Boyd and Erica Douglas. Right now, Douglas is not faring any better than John Boyd, currently 27th as of right now. But then the guy third in the point standings, that being Ray Atikian. Right now, he is running. Oh, where is Ray? Is Ray not? Oh, there he is. There's Ray. I almost forgot. I kind of thought that I didn't include him here. But there's Ray Atikian. Right now, he is running in the 15th position, just behind Reagan Whitlock and also ahead of Harun Kankoiloglu. But he is third in points with 102 to his name. And that is a 29-point gap in the standings between himself and John Boyd. So the guy that could definitely benefit from all of this, as far as the top 5 in points is concerned, is Ray Atikian. But overall, I think I'd have to give that to Marcus Sachi here in this 14 machine, currently running in the 5th position. And right now he comes into this race 7th in the point standings. Again, in that 3-way tie between himself, Jordan Sumner, and Campbell Marsh. So Sachi right now having himself a good run here in this event. And could definitely, and if he's able, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But if he's able to keep this performance up, there is definitely a very good chance that he will leave here. Probably not as the points leader, but definitely a lot closer to the points lead than what I could possibly imagine. Then again, he could leave here with the points lead. It all just depends on what the pit strategies are going to look like once we get to the halfway mark. Everybody right now is just, again, they're minding their own P's and Q's right now. They're not really pushing it. They're not being aggressive. They're all just kind of riding it out in this single file rhythm. But we will see pit stops here in another several laps. I'd probably give it to probably about lap 20 to lap 23, at least right around that area. That pit window should open around that area. So 14 laps complete. Ryan Kendall has led every single lap thus far since the drop of the green flag. He wound up in a side-by-side battle with Igor Barreto to start the race. Barreto looked like that he was going to be able to at least grab the lead coming off of the final corner. But Ryan Kendall answered back with a fantastic run coming off the corner and was able to grab the lead back. I remember Kendall started on the pole for this race, our 2022 Indianapolis 100 champion. So far, putting in the work here with 15 laps complete. We're coming around to complete lap 16 this time around. So there'll be 29 laps of racing to go. And again, these races that we're going to have here in Brazil, this race will blow by in a hurry, as will the Cup race, even though that race is going to be 75 laps long. It still is definitely going to go right on by here in a heartbeat. Might want to watch for that, or at least we're going to watch for that, you know, Cup race, because they're definitely going to have to deal with more than just one pit stop. For here in the Xfinity series, they are going to have to do just one singular pit stop, and that pit stop is either going to make or break the rest of your night. There's Bobby Maguire in the 5. Memory serves me right, Maguire wound up making his Xfinity Series debut out over by Las Vegas. And I can't really remember how well he did over there, but as far as the Cup side goes, he started off the season really well. Got a top 5 finish in the Daytona 500, but hasn't really been able to keep that momentum up. He did fall outside of the top 10 in the point standings over on the Cup Series side. But here in Xfinity, so far doing a very nice job, and could definitely take what he's learning and apply it for tomorrow. When it comes to how to tackle the racetrack and how to tackle all the pit strategies, you know, that we're going to be seeing for tomorrow. And I will guarantee you, I mean, it is more than just a guarantee. It is kind of inevitable that we are going to have more than one pit stop in the Cup race. But as far as the action that we're seeing here in Brazil, everybody is just kind of lying and waiting while for that first green flag pit stop, which should be coming up here in just a handful of laps. It's only a matter of time before somebody breaks off from the lead group, or at least from the back end of the field, and try to get their pit stop started off here pretty early. So far, everybody has just kind of been, and again, they've been riding it out, single file, trying to take as good of care of their tires as they possibly can. But also, they've been just trying to manage their fuel as well. But definitely tires is definitely more of the conversation here for a road course here like Brazil, especially with a lot of these sharp corners like this, the two right-handers and the singular left-hander that we currently have, that we're currently navigating our way through as we're looking at Bryce Egan. We'll see him next week when we go to Martinsville. He's currently racing in the Truck Series, driving the number 34 over there. For Front Row Motorsports, and 20 laps in, and he currently finds himself sitting in the 25th position. Will Parrish, one of the NS Racing cars, not faring too well either, currently sitting in the 26th spot. Further up ahead, nothing much has really changed. But it is still Ryan Kendall who leads the way, and by the time he crosses the start-finish line in a couple of rotations time, he will officially nab the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps here tonight. Because if you do lead more than half of the race, I mean, especially in this case, if you do lead more than half of the race, then obviously you are going to nab those 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. It's kind of just a clinch at that point. But obviously, if you don't, it goes to the driver that obviously led the most laps. But if you do lead more than half of the laps in a single in one race, then you do clinch those 5 bonus points, which is what Ryan Kendall is getting ready to do here next time by. Barretto sitting in that second position, kind of lying and waiting, trying to anticipate our green flag pit stops, which should be coming up here very shortly. But you even look in the background, kind of everybody is spaced out and giving each other plenty of room. Not really rushing into anything, and they're kind of just pacing really at this point. There's Kenny Stremme in the 16. He comes into this race almost dead last in the point standings with 31 points to his name. And I'm going to go ahead and look at the point standings just to go ahead and confirm that to you guys. Yes, that indeed is the case. 31 points between himself, Haley Curris, and Eric Blaze. And Blaze breaks that tie. And sits in the 32nd spot in the point standings. And he is one of those drivers that will desperately need a fantastic run. He is getting it here tonight. But will he be able to keep it up? After this one and only round of green flag pit stops, we're just going to have to keep our eyes open for when that comes around. But nonetheless, Blaze, as of right now, there's definitely a very good opportunity for him that's on the table for him to nab some really good points here for tonight. 25 laps down, 20 to go from here in Brazil. And Ryan Kendall has been able to put a pretty impressive gap on Igor Barretto, just a little over 3/4 of a second across the stripe last time by. Shauna Martin still sitting in second, and then in third, or sitting in third rather, that is Shauna Martin. Then in fourth is Austin Kane. Sachi still completes the top 5, and then it's McGuire, Blaze, Stremme, Neely, and Takashi. That is your top 10. Oh, I think Kendall entered the corner just a little bit wider than what he would have wanted. But here we go. Bobby McGuire is the first one to break off and come on into pit road. Joshua Neely not too far behind him. And you also have his teammate Steve Morgan and Kasumi Takashi here in this 39 joining him. Whitlock, Koiloglu, Nick Martin, also Kukalon, Fitzgerald. So this is about the first half of the field that is making their way in for their one and only round of green flag pit stops. Looks like Austin Kane and Shauna Martin, they're going to be peeling off. They're going to be coming on into the pits, as will Eric Blaze, Rowe, and Stremme. They both wound up staying out. Thomas Jericho, Noah Cars, they come in along with Erica Douglas and Haley Curris. There's going to be several others that will be making their trips onto pit road. And Ryan Kendall here in this 00, along with Igor Barretto, they have yet to come on in and make their stops. Looks like they might be getting ready to do so right here. They make that hard left-hand turn to kind of stay down out of the racing line, and there goes Kendall onto pit road. Barretto stays out. Dinamon down and away from his pit stall in the 27. So now Igor Barretto takes the race lead away as Ryan Kendall makes his way onto pit road in the 11, or in the 00. The 11 of Barretto leading the charge from here in Brazil. But we should be seeing that number 11 making his way into the pits this time around. And probably we might see several other drivers get ready to do the exact same thing here eventually. Ooh, Nick Martin and Noah Cars getting a little close for comfort there as they come off that right-hander. Cars going to get that spot over Nick Martin. do believe Barretto has already, yes, indeed, he has made his way into the pit road. He is going in and making his pit stop right now. So that should give the lead over. Hold the phone just for a minute. I believe this is going to give the lead over to Shauna Martin here in this 07. With now 15 laps of racing to go from here in Brazil. How about that? Barretto just now getting up to speed. Actually, I don't think that's actually going to be the case because Igor Barretto managed to fire off out of the pits a lot quicker than what I was anticipating. So it looks like Igor Barretto actually is going to hold on to the top position. Shauna Martin will officially be in the second position, and then Marcus Sacchi in third. Then in fourth is the 00, that being of Ryan Kendall. Austin Kane runs out your top five. John Boyd, who is the points leader, was running mid-pack throughout most of the race up until now. He is running in the sixth position, then in seventh. Oh, now Blaze is in the sixth position. Bobby McGuire in seventh, Kenny Strebe eighth, then in ninth is Sam Robinson, and Joshua Neely rounds out your top 10. John Boyd just went from sixth all the way back to 16th. So he lost several positions there. I believe when he just came off of the pit road, or at least, yeah, definitely came off of the pit road, he was in the sixth position, but did get relegated back to the 16th position. 14 to go this time by. Shauna Martin was trying to chase down that number 11 to try to get that race lead away from Barretto. And she just absolutely drives it into the corner there. But only to no avail here. The gap right now between, or at least scoring wise, the gap between the 11 and the 07 is currently just a tad over a half a second. Marcus Sacchi waiting in the wings just in case if anything happens to the front two. But Barretto doing a very nice job of holding on, or at least maintaining that top spot over Shauna Martin. But again, Marcus Sacchi now sitting in third. Then running in the fourth spot is Ryan Kendall, who easily led the most laps here tonight. And then running in the fifth position, that being Austin Kane in the number 3. For the Richard Childress Racing entry, Eric Blaze running in sixth. I believe this would be his first official top 10 of the season and of his career for Eric Blaze, if he's able to hang on to where he's currently at right now. Bobby McGuire running in seventh. Also doing a very nice job over here for him. Definitely going to take a lot of valuable notes here for tomorrow night's Cup race. And then again, for Eric Blaze, for other drivers, they're going to be in tomorrow night's, or at least tomorrow's qualifying sessions, where that will take place at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on the YouTube channel, which by the time that this replay comes out, you would have already seen exactly who's in the race and who's starting where for the Cup race, which you'll be able to see that at 7 p.m. EST on the 4th of April on Twitch. But for some of these drivers that are going to be trying to contend to get into tomorrow night's Cup race, such as Eric Blaze, they're going to have probably somewhat of an advantage over the rest of the field. And I'm actually curious to see how that will play out. I mean, but for Bobby McGuire, he is full-time in the Cup Series, so should be pretty interesting to see what he'll bring to the table for tomorrow night. But as for Igor Barretto here in this number 11, he is now starting to put a gap on himself, or at least between himself and Shauna Martin as they come through turn the final corner here. It'll be 10 laps to go from here in Arena Café Norte here in Brazil. Barretto still leading the charge. And unless if anything happens here to Igor Barreto in the number 11. I just don't see Shauna Martin having anything for the number 11 here in these next 10 laps. Marcus Sachi waiting in the wings in case if anything happens to the front two. I think with how pit stops went down, I think everybody right now is they've got back in that single file green flag rhythm. The field is definitely shaken up quite a bit, so a lot of the drivers that we've seen up at the front of the field, or at least further up in the running order, they've now kind of gotten kicked back a little bit. For example, Alexander Rowe here in this number 2, he was running at least in between the 13th and the 14th positions, but now has been relegated back to 20th. He's now been relegated back over to the 20th position. And then there's Haley Kurus running in 21st, and then HX Fitzgerald hasn't really gone anywhere. I believe he started 21st. It looks like he's only going to lose one spot here in this race. Right now running in the 22nd position in the number 88 machine. But nonetheless, take a look further back in the field. There's our race winner from Fontana, that being Reagan DeFeo, right now running 31st. So she'll take a hit in the point standings. Jordan Sumner is another driver that will take a hit in the points. So that good streak of top 10s is going to end here tonight in Brazil. There's Celeste Lace in the 21. Man, this is going to be a race that he will want to forget. And after this race, I do believe the Xfinity Series is off until we go to Ricky in May. So that will to kick off our full month of racing with the Trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series, as well as a lot of other things that will be taking place throughout the month of May. And that is my favorite time of the year because of all the racing that we're going to be seeing, not just in real life, but also in NR 2003. Of course, you have Alex, otherwise known as AG. We do want to say hello to him. He's going to be getting ready for the Indianapolis 250 here pretty soon. Over in the month of May. He's going to have a lot of the Wawa Cup Series events taking place around that time, as well as the Body Armor Pro Series. I believe even the HERS Sprint Series and the Wawa National Series. There's going to be a lot happening over in that area, as well as other NR leagues that are really going to be really utilizing next month for all of their action, and we're going to definitely be taking full advantage of that as well. And you're not going to want to miss any sort of action that will be taking place throughout the month of May. But before we get to that point, WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series racing will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for their 5th race of the season. Wyatt Walker comes into this weekend as our previous winner. He won at Fontana, just barely holding off Lily Cassius, who just about won in her NOS Energy Cup Series debut. And that was a very, very eye-catching performance from the EGI driver, from one of EGI's newest drivers, rather. And we'll be watching to see if she will be able to get into tomorrow night's race as well. Qualifying takes place at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be on the YouTube channel. And we are very, very excited for the month of May. And we're also excited for tomorrow night, as well as next week when we go to Martinsville. Trucks will be returning and Cup will be following suit. But as for tonight, we are closing in on the curtain call here for this race. Igor Barreto starting to increase that gap a little bit more between himself and Shauna Martin. They come to 3 laps to go from here in Brazil. It has been a caution-free event. Thankfully, it has been caution-free. And maybe tomorrow will be the same case. Maybe the racing tomorrow will be a little bit different. The tire wear could be different. We're just going to have to find out what that will look like when we drop the green flag for our 75-lap main event tomorrow night. You'll be able to catch that in less than 24 hours time on Twitch. 2 fingers in the air, signifying 2 laps of racing to go from here in Brazil. That gap still maintaining at least 0.86 seconds, 0.8 of a second, almost 0.9 between Barretto and Shauna Martin. But Martin's going to get really close to getting her first win here in the Xfinity Series. Again, we'll see her next weekend at Martinsville when the Truck Series comes back. But as for tonight, what a run for Shauna Martin. Making their way over to the final right-hand turn. The white flag will be flying from here in Brazil. Igor Barretto is going to lead it with 1 to go. Will he be leading coming back to the checkers? We're going to find out in less than what feels like 20 to 30 seconds time. The gap is now almost a full second between himself and Shauna Martin. Igor Barretto comes into this race 12th in the point standings. Making his way over to the final left-hander and into the final right-hander. Checkers will be waving. And Igor Barretto comes off of the final quarter. Igor Barretto is a WRLA Xfinity Series winner from here in Brazil. Man. Some good action. Some good, clean road course racing from here in Brazil. And leaving here tonight, there is definitely a very good chance we're going to see Igor Barretto break into the top 10. But what a night here for the Xfinity Series. Igor Barretto scores his first WRLA win, his first as well here in the Xfinity Series. Shauna Martin is going to finish in the second position. Marcus Sacchi in third. He will definitely have himself a pretty good jump in the points standings. Probably moving up inside of the top 5 most likely. Ryan Kendall in fourth. Austin Kane rounds out your top 5. Then Eric Blaze finishing in 6th. Then in 7th is Bobby McGuire. Kenny Stremme in 8th. Sam Robinson in 9th. And Joshua Neely rounds out your top 10. Let's take a look at the rest of your results after tonight's festivities from here in Brazil. Everybody finished the race. No drivers finished a lap down or more. Nobody crashed, thankfully. So all was clean and green from here in the Arena Cafe Norte. And what a night from here in Brazil. Big congratulations to Igor Barretto on scoring his first win here in the Xfinity Series and getting the inaugural Xfinity race out of the way from here in Brazil. Your point standings will be coming up next. The next time you'll see these Xfinity Series drivers, it's going to be a little while from now, I would have to believe, because the next time that you'll see these drivers on track will be on May 8th. These drivers will be racing at the Talladega Super Speedway for the Aaron's 312. 66 laps of action over there, and that will go down on the 8th of May at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But as far as overall WRLA action, we'll be back tomorrow for qualifying at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be over on the YouTube channel. And then on Twitch at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be our main event. That will be the Castrol GTX Grand Prix from here in Brazil. Want to thank you guys a lot for watching here at WRLA Xfinity Series action from here in Brazil. If you're watching this live on Twitch, be sure to hit that follow button so you don't miss a future stream, as well as other content that gets featured on this channel. But if you also are watching on the WRLA YouTube channel, keep an eye on the Discord for your points. And if you guys like this video, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to consider subscribing in order to keep up with some fine racing content that will be posted up all throughout 2026. One more time, congratulations to Igor Barreto on nabbing the win from here in Brazil. Have yourselves a great rest of your night, folks. Take care, and we will see you all tomorrow from here in Brazil for WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series action.